Hey, how is everyone tonight? I am streaming live all over. So I'm over here on YouTube and I'm over here on Instagram today. So hello, YouTube. Hello, Instagram. I love you both very, very much. Very much. I want to talk about how to turn your dreams into a reality. So, this is a very important topic for me. And the reason why is because a lot of us have dreams and aspirations. And I come from the restaurant world, even though I'm very spiritual. Okay. So a lot of you all know the way that my life unfolded wasn't exactly how a lot of us want it to, right? There was a lot of abuse, a lot of spiritual abuse. I grew up in a very staunch religious environment that it did not work well for my for who I was as a person, and it made it very, very difficult. Okay, and so what I want to talk about today is the importance of turning your dreams into a reality, and actually how to do that. um, I have so many that are so fun. Even my daughters, like I have two daughters and a son. And I remember one of my daughters when she turned 15, I said, what do you want to do for your birthday? You're 15. What do you want to do for your birthday? And she was like, Mama, I want to go to Tokyo. And she loved Tokyo. And she had a favorite store in Tokyo. And literally, I'm thinking, how am I going to get her to Tokyo? Like, that just seems like what? But on the day of her birthday, she was actually shopping at her favorite shop in Tokyo, and she had her favorite bands there when she was 15. But the reason why that's so pivotal is because I have trained my girls for so long to whatever you think about, you can bring about. And I wrote a book called Divinely Inspired Action. It's all about reprogramming your subconscious mind for a great purpose. I have it on Amazon and on in card copy. But the reason I love it is because it's a workbook. So if you've grown up religious, okay, there's a difference between growing up religious and growing up spiritual. Oh, I like how I didn't even have this like all buttoned up. That's so cute. Like the difference between religious and spiritual is religion, you are actually going by a book. Okay, like you're going by what you read, you're going by what you're taught, I'm not saying, I don't want to turn this into like a negative, okay, because all of my family, my friends, my mom, very religious, okay, very religious, okay, and but the difference between religious and spiritual is from the inside out, okay, and it's about really taking that time to really meditate on the daily. So I've owned four restaurants across the country, and I opened up my first restaurant when I was 22. And when I was 22, I didn't know I was spiritual. I thought I was just religious, had that religious vibe because I grew up in the church and I was extremely involved in private religious schools and no sex before marriage, like none of that. Our skirts were below our knees. We couldn't even be in an elevator with another gentleman. We weren't even allowed to wear like a belt with pants because it would draw attention, right, to that area of a lady. So it was very extremely, I don't want to use like religious church terms, you know what I'm saying? But it was like man made up these laws just to control. And that's all it was one huge control. But I remember, so I moved out at 18 because I was like, I gotta get out of this. I do not want to be caught in this kind of control for the rest of time. And the only way you could get out of under that kind of oppression was to get married. So I married someone in my high school sweetheart. He was lovely at the time when we got married. And unfortunately, it turned very, very dark, very quick. And unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. But that is why I'm very careful with people who are caught up in religious religions. Okay. And that's why I have shifted into the spiritual realm and really grabbed a hold of what the difference is between the two. A lot of people don't know this. And if you're listening to me right now and you're thinking to yourself, how dare she say such a thing? You know, one out of every three women my age in America, okay, are on some kind of antidepressant. And one out of every two women that are caught in this religious cycle, which I believe is actually more. I believe it's more than 50%. But that's what the stats say, are actually suicidal alcoholics because they are so oppressed. Every Sunday they do this traditional. I was there. I was there, you all. So I'm 52 now. I I went to my first bar when I was 38. My first bar when I was 38. I wore my first bikini at 40. Now, I'm not saying you have to drink and wear bikinis and all that, but I'm just saying I was so suppressed. And it was very difficult for those who were caught up in that culture, even till this day. You know, they can be very like, are you okay? Is everything, they think that I've pretty much gone off the deep end, you know. Um, but what I want to share with you is if you're listening to this right now, there is a reason. And I feel like one of my biggest callings in life is to give and show others the opportunity not just to survive through this life, but to thrive through this life. And it can be scary. It doesn't matter what age you are. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what age you are. It can be very scary. The journey, you can feel very alone in the journey. You can feel a lot of shame in the journey. And shame is honestly, people don't talk about shame because the number one reason why people end up in mental institutions is because of shame. And I remember not that long ago, actually, just a few days ago, I was visiting some people who I adore, who I love, who I know do not judge me, even though their mindset is definitely different. Okay, I come from the spiritual realm; they come from the religious realm. And I shared something very deep because I said to myself, going into this scenario, or actually just even going into 2024, I really want to be vulnerable. I want to be open, honest, real, and vulnerable. And if you're a single person trying to find love, or if you're dating someone and you're wondering if this person is for you, I'm going to challenge you right now. I'm going to ask you, are you being honest with them? Are you really being transparent? Are you sharing the things with them that you know that they need to know? And it might, honestly, it might not even be life changing. It just might be something that makes you feel kind of cringy, kind of like shameful, kind of like a little bit crunchy. You know what I'm saying? Those are the times that you need to be honest. And if you are looking at a love interest and you're wondering where they stand with you, think about the thought pattern of if you're really being honest with them, if you're really sharing that vulnerability with them. Think about it. So, a few years back. So I remember when I was just learning this myself, and I was dating someone at the time, and then we went our separate ways. It was about a year and a half after we went our separate ways. And I thought about this and I thought, you know what? I never told him so many things only because of my own shame, and I did not know how he was going to respond to it. And this is the thing that happens when you're vulnerable with someone is you can be vulnerable, and the first thing that can happen is they can be vulnerable back just on the same level, which is amazing, which is the goal, which you just want to happen. And then you know what happens? The two of you guys are like this, and now you're like this. Yeah. But if someone's really vulnerable with you, or you're really vulnerable with someone, okay, you both are right here. And so say you're vulnerable, and they might not share with you, but they'll listen. They'll still accept you to where you're at. It's fine. There's still going to be a gap, but it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. You know where you stand. All right. And then the third thing is you're vulnerable and you share, and that person is like, oh my gosh, they either run, or what they do is they turn it back around on you during your arguments. All right. When you guys are fighting, okay, because no relationship is perfect. When you guys are having those, and then they throw it in your face, they throw your vulnerability in your face. And that's when I say done. Because I 100% believe vulnerability is a gift. It is a full gift. It is a gift that you give someone. And when someone is vulnerable with me, I don't take it lightly. I value that. I embrace it. And I also feel very blessed. I feel blessed that they took the time to share something so sensitive that they might actually feel shame about and uncomfortable about. And they actually shared it with me. They shared that with me. They trusted me with it. Like they gave that to me. That is like the most beautiful thing you can give someone. The most beautiful thing you can give someone. So a few days ago, I was with some people that I'm very close to, and I was vulnerable with them. I had chosen to be vulnerable with them with something I didn't want to share, but I allowed myself to, and I did, and I shared it. And I'm not going to lie, they could have been more loving, more kind, more understanding, more all the things. But the next morning I woke up and I was like, I can't believe I just shared that. I literally can't believe I just shared that. Not only that, but I can't believe I shared it with them. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they are just like, this is not. And then I said, no, I am not going to fall under that mindset. Because you know what? That mindset is a dark mindset, and that's where the enemy wants to keep us. You know what? If we're not making a difference in people's lives, the enemy is going to come in, and he at least he'll paralyze us. Like that's his goal. So if you feel like you have a calling, you have to fight through those things, but you also have to be a reflection of what you put out is what you attract. Energy is everything. Energy is everything. I cannot express that enough. So I just remember in all of my restaurants, this is where I'm getting at. It's all about visualization. And for me, everyone's different, is actually finding the venue, like finding where I want to be. And then every single day I would go to that place, like wherever that spot was. And I would just sit outside in my car and I would stare at the building and I would just imagine all the people coming in and out. I would imagine my menu. I would imagine, uh, the feeling, like being excited about meeting new people, seeing friends come in, seeing family from other parts of the country come in, and just like carrying that vibe. And seeing the sign up there, seeing the ribbon cutting with the mayor, all the things. Seeing like my credit go through to open up the restaurant, you know what I mean? Seeing the investors, but not just seeing it, but feeling it. And it's not something that you just do once. You don't just show up to, to the storefront once. You do it every day, every day, every day. Even my last restaurant, I remember I was doing fitness. Where I was doing my workouts was literally across the street or across not even the street. It was like the same parking area, the same complex, I guess you could say. And so every time I drove into going into my fitness class, I would look over and I'd be like, like I'm almost there, I'm almost there. And then when I'd come out, I'd be like pumped and I'd just like go there and I'd stare at the building, I'd feel it in my soul, like all the things, and I even did it with my books. Like this one, this one is really pivotal to me. I don't really make if you guys really want to know the honest truth, I've like sold like thousands of these on Amazon. Amazon gives us like 4 cents a copy, just to let you guys know. So all of us that have these books on there, like we do it for you guys. Like there's no like residual, like we don't get, this is not monetary at all. This is like a gift to the world. So just to let you all know, all of us that have these books on there, we're not, you know what I'm saying? Even though it shows that we're like selling thousands, we're not, it's definitely like we're not making bank on here. Oh gosh. It is a single mom with 3 kids at home that's like, but when I wrote this, it was important because my little sister was very mentally sick at the time. And she had been in and out of rehabs. She had a problem with heroin and all the things. She spiraled down really, really fast. She was beautiful. You would have never known it, even till her last breath. She was beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous, tall, beautiful. Forbes Modeling wanted her in New York City. Just vivacious personality, full of life. And I just remember on her last days thinking, I got to get this out. I got to get this out. Because there's so many people suffering. There are so many people suffering. I mean, you can have the entire world. I even say your health and fitness. You can have your health and fitness, finances. That's why you hear like all these beautiful people who are gorgeous and they look fit and they're out there and financially they're like multi-millionaires. They're even walking in their gifts. And then you find out they take their life. They're no longer with us. Or they're strung out on heroin, and or over the counter drugs. I mean, right? How many of us know people, or maybe this could be you, who go to several different doctors to get all the different pills because one doctor is not going to give you that one pill. So when I wrote this and finally published, I was like, and I'll say I even feel this way till this day, that my work was done. My work is done. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much more I want to do. I want to be on the stages in Africa, in the rural, crazy places where there's millions of people and they don't even think that tomorrow is even an option. Just like the world hunger and the starvation. And I work, I have so many like assistants in Bangladesh and Pakistan and, all over the globe. I make sure that my world is very global. And I will say that is one thing about my religious community. We were sent out at a very young age into the rural third world countries. I mean, I just can't even believe, like, I was sent out at 14 years old, uh, into the most tragic of tragic, you know, to help these orphans and people suffering all over the world. And that's why, like, you might see this cloth behind me. It's actually a dress that was made for me, that one of my daughters, when she turned 15, I sent her way out there too. Because, and I got a lot of backlash. If you give me backlash, I'm just going to block you on here. So don't backlash me here. But I sent her out there because, when we live here in America, we say, oh my gosh, I don't have anything. What do I have to give? Who am I? What kind of impact can I make? Like, we don't know suffering. I mean, just the average, I'm talking average American, you know what I mean? Middle suburban American, right? Just normal Americans, like we don't, there, we have government, we have churches. Don't argue with me because we do. And that's one thing I know. One thing I know is mission work. One thing I know is mission work. Okay. And I know devastation. I know America, and I know the rest of the world, period. I don't know a lot. I know food and I know devastation. Yeah, 100%. And it changed me. And I want all my kids to experience that. Until this day, she'll say, Mom, Abby, how did you sleep last night? She's like, Mom, I had a warm bed. What does it matter? I had a warm bed. She just turned 18. When you know suffering and you actually see it, it changes you. You go through the rest of your life, even on the hardest times, even if you can't pay rent, even if you're doing just rice and eggs day in and day out. You have rice and eggs, and at least you're in America. At least you don't have, people coming after you, raping your children, all the suffering, you know, opportunities all over the place. Opportunities drives me nuts. Anyway, so when I talk about visualization and I talk about making that impact and I talk about really going out there and making that difference, you can do that. You can do that. And it's honestly, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. So I just speak a blessing over each one of you tonight. And I speak your calling out in 2024, that your dreams and your visions and your aspirations will flow effortlessly, and that you would just open up yourself right now just to receive all that you are meant to have. All that you are meant to have. We are not meant to be limited. We are not. And you are somebody. You are somebody. And you are worth it. You are worth the very best. And God has such an incredible, incredible plan for you. And you do not have to. And you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to silence those negative voices. Those voices that say that you're not worthy. Those voices that say that your voice doesn't matter. Like, even if you were a child and you were that child that no one would listen to, or they would never ask a question, I silence that. I silence that, because our biggest weapon, sometimes we can just put blame on society or the church or our environment. But a lot of times it's just our minds, and our minds are so powerful. Minds are so powerful. Oh my God. I was just with my family. I have family that's from Honduras, like the dark part of Honduras. Well, actually, most of Honduras is pretty dark. So, but it took them a long time to get the family over here. And it's kind of like when my daughter, when she was in the third world countries and she came back and she was like, Mom, when these people lived under the tree, they lived under the tree. Like that. If you were under the tree, you were under the tree. There was nothing else. There was no home to go to. There was no nothing, and um, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And, but once you learn your power, like the power that you have, not just to thrive in your own life, but to give out of the overflow and out of the abundance. So I speak that over to you tonight, that you silence the voices in your mind that tell you that you're not worthy, because you are. And those voices that say that your dreams don't matter, because they matter. It doesn't matter what it is, they matter. And let me also tell you this, money is important, because you can do a lot. You can help a lot of people with money. You can live the life you've always wanted. There's so much power and freedom in having money. And it's important to embrace that. It's important to speak it out. And it doesn't have to be hard. There's so many ways, so many ways. All right. I love you guys. Mwah. Enjoy your night. I love it. Gotta let, first, I gotta let Instagram go. I'm gonna let you guys go. My beautiful YouTube family. I love you guys.